Okay, so you know how everyone's been talking about T.I.'s son, King Harris? It's like a slow motion train wreck you can't look away from, right? Forget the tabloid headlines for a minute. Let's dig into what's really going on with this kid and his very complicated relationship with his dad's legacy. I think the key to understanding King is realizing he's growing up in a completely different world than T.I. did. Clawed his way out of the streets of Atlanta, built an empire from nothing. He knows the game, the dangers, the consequences. He carries that weight with him. You can see it in his eyes. King? He's been raised in the lap of luxury, reality TV cameras following him around since he was a kid. He's seen the fame, the money, the perceived power that comes with being T.I.'s son, but he hasn't necessarily earned any of it himself. And that, I think, is at the root of a lot of his issues. He's trying to prove something, but he's trying to prove it in all the wrong ways. Think about that Falcons game incident. Father and son going at it in a VIP suite. King yelling about not being raised with privilege, claiming he grew up at his grandma's house. It's like he's trying to distance himself from the image of the spoiled rich kid, trying to show he's real, that he's street. But the irony is deafening. He's got this incredible opportunity, this platform his father built, and he's seemingly determined to throw it all away to chase some warped idea of authenticity. And that brings us to the arrest. Guns, weed, reckless driving. It's not just a bad decision, it's a pattern. It's like he's actively seeking out trouble, almost daring the world to judge him. And the internet, of course, obliges. The body cam footage becomes a meme, a symbol of a rich kid trying to play gangster. But here's where it gets darker. The rumors start circulating about what happened inside the jail. It wasn't just a night behind bars, it was a confrontation with a whole different reality. A reality where your last name means nothing, where respect is earned, not given, and allegedly King came in hot, running his mouth, name-dropping his dad, and generally acting like he was still on Instagram. Huge mistake. Imagine being in that situation. You're 20 years old, you've lived a relatively sheltered life, and suddenly you're surrounded by hardened criminals, men who've seen it all, done it all. The power dynamic shifts instantly. The internet bravado means nothing, your father's fame means nothing. You're just another body in a cell, and you've just made yourself a target. That's when the whispers started. That's T.I.'s boy. And everything changed. Some saw an opportunity for clout, a chance to make a name for themselves by taking down hip-hop royalty. Others saw a chance to settle old scores, to strike back at T.I.'s success through his son, and some maybe just wanted to teach this kid a lesson about respect. The reports of King begging for help, those are chilling. Stripped of everything he thought made him untouchable, he's just another scared kid facing real consequences. The jail phone becomes his lifeline, a desperate call to the one person he probably spent years trying to prove he didn't need. And T.I.'s silence speaks volumes. No public displays of support, no angry rants on social media, just quiet. You know he's working behind the scenes, pulling strings, calling in favors he probably wishes he never had to use. But the public silence is a message in itself. A message to King, to the world, that this time things are different. Think about the pressure T.I. is under. He's built this empire, escaped the streets, and now he's watching his son seemingly self-destruct, throwing it all away. It's gotta be heartbreaking, but it's also a reflection on his own journey, his own struggles. He knows the dangers of that life, he's lived it. And he probably feels like he failed somehow, like he didn't get through to King, didn't steer him away from this path. The detail about the gangs marking him, not just to rough him up, but to silence him permanently, that's a whole other level of terrifying. It's not just about a fight, it's about power, about sending a message. And King, whether he realizes it or not, has become a pawn in a much bigger game. He's a symbol of privilege, of fame, of everything these guys resent. The gas station incident, that's the moment it all spiraled out of control. A reckless turn, a police cruiser, the smell of weed, the sight of guns. It's almost comical in its absurdity, like a scene from a movie. But the consequences are very real. The bench warrant, the cuffs, the TMZ headlines. It's a public humiliation, a fall from grace that's broadcast to the entire world. The description of King in the cell, his confidence leaking out of him like air from a busted balloon, that's powerful. It's a moment of reckoning, a realization that he's not as tough as he thought he was, that his internet persona is just that, a persona. The haunting silence of the men who've seen it all, the men who don't care who your daddy is. That's a brutal awakening. The story about him making a stupid joke, clowning on older inmates like he was still filming for social media. That's classic King. He's used to getting away with things, used to being the center of attention, but jail isn't a popularity contest, it's a survival game. And he's just walked in wearing a target on his back. The whispers spreading through the block. That's T.I.'s boy right there. That's the sound of his world collapsing. He's no longer just King Harris, he's an extension of his father's legacy, and every mistake he makes reflects on the entire family. He's carrying a weight he's not prepared for, and he's buckling under the pressure. And the fact that he just became a father himself, that's the ultimate irony. Holding his baby boy, King Jr. should have been a wake-up call, a moment of clarity, but instead, he's repeating the same mistakes, perpetuating the same cycle of violence and self-destruction. But it's a tragedy in the making, a story of wasted potential and a legacy hanging in the balance. Is he doomed to repeat his father's story, or can he break free and forge his own path? The answer, it seems, lies behind those steel bars. The question of fate hangs heavy. Was King destined for this, or could a different path have been forged? The streets talk. They always do. And the whispers surrounding T.I. allegedly reaching out to figures from his past, that speaks volumes about the level of desperation. Forget lawyers and bail money, this is about raw power, influence bought and paid for with years of navigating a dangerous world. It's a stark reminder that even those who escape the trap can never truly leave it behind. The past is a shadow, always lurking, ready to reclaim you or your kid. Those gangs inside, they weren't looking for a fair fight. They saw a symbol, an opportunity to elevate their own status in the brutal hierarchy of prison life. Taking down the son of T.I. is a trophy, a testament to their dominance. It's a twisted form of respect earned through violence and intimidation. And King, caught in the crosshairs, becomes a victim of circumstance, a pawn in a game he doesn't fully understand. The reports of him running his mouth, bragging about his father's fame and fortune, that's just youthful arrogance colliding with a harsh reality. He probably thought his name would protect him, that his perceived status would shield him from harm. But in jail, those things are liabilities. They paint a target on your back, making you a prime target for those seeking to prove themselves. It's a cruel lesson learned the hard way. Its internal struggle must be immense. He clawed his way out of poverty, built a successful career, and tried to create a better life for his family. And now he's forced to watch his son repeat the same mistakes, potentially jeopardizing everything he's worked for. It's a parent's worst nightmare, a feeling of helplessness in the face of their child's self-destructive behavior. The cycle of violence, the allure of the streets, it's a powerful force. It can pull you back in even when you think you've escaped. And for King, growing up in the shadow of his father's past, that pull must be even stronger. He's trying to define himself, to forge his own identity, but he's doing it in all the wrong ways, chasing a dangerous illusion of authenticity. The fact that he's now a father himself only adds to the tragedy. He has a responsibility to break the cycle, to provide a better future for his son, but instead, he's seemingly on a path to repeat the mistakes of the past, potentially condemning his own child to the same struggles. It's a heartbreaking scenario, a story of wasted potential and a legacy at risk. The choice is his. He can either learn from this experience, grow as a person and become the man he always claimed to be, or he can continue down this destructive path, ultimately succumbing to the dangers he's courting. The streets are unforgiving, and they don't offer second chances. The ending of this story is yet to be written, but one thing is clear. King Harris is at a crossroads. His fate hangs in the balance, dependent on the choices he makes in the coming days, weeks, and months. Will he rise above the challenges, break free from the cycle, and create a better future for himself and his family? Or will he become another cautionary tale? A tragic example of the perils of fame, pride, and self-destruction. Only time will tell. The world is watching, waiting to see what becomes of T.I.'s son. The pressure is immense, but the opportunity for redemption remains.